Okay, good morning. We're really delighted today to announce Kenny Weston as our new NTC Boys coach. It's a really great opportunity for football in Tasmania and FFT, and particularly for the players. We have very good programs, as we know. We've got Michael Edwards back as our women's coach, and we've been looking forward to Kenny joining us. Kenny's got a fantastic pedigree and background. I think the thing we like most is his enthusiasm for the game, his willingness to grow the game at all levels, and also I think his background. He's been involved with some pretty significant clubs, but he's also had the opportunity to work at sort of grassroots levels of football, and he's worked in the development pathways in Western Australia, so he comes with a fantastic background, and a really good sort of attitude and approach and personality for the job, and we want to make him very welcome.
What do you think he can add to the NTC Boys program?
I think a lot of European experience, which is very good. I think obviously football in England particularly has always been at the cutting edge. I think there's a lot of experience now that he's gained, having worked with Burnley, Premier League club, also having previously been involved with Manchester United, Ipswich Town. I think that's what we're looking for, is just that rounded experience. And the other key part was having worked in Western Australia and having a genuine understanding of how football in Australia works and where we're at. We think that that will make a really smooth transition into the role, and Kenny will be up and running almost immediately.
Well, Kenny, welcome, mate. And as Mike's mentioned, a pretty impressive CV. I mean, can you run us through some of your experience, I guess, what you're able to bring to the table here in Tassie?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it comes initially from a playing sort of perspective. Spending my youth days at Manchester United, and obviously Sir Alex Ferguson at that time had a massive influence on the youth department. That was pre the money days, and to have that sort of level of experience, as a coach at that time, him and his assistant Archie Knox used to come down and train the under-12s, and believe it or not, that's what happened back in them days. To then, obviously, as a player, go from Manchester United to Ipswich Town. So I played, it's two clubs who, predominantly, have got a great record in terms of developing youth players, and also the style of play that they adopt. Ipswich Town have always been a club that absolutely play the right way, with the right coaching staff as well. So that sort of led me on to then, after a playing career, deciding to go down the coaching route, because my real passion, and it's actually a bigger passion as a player, is to actually help develop players. Obviously, first and foremost from a football standpoint, but also as people, to help them to sort of get to the levels that they want to get to from a football point of view, but also helping them along the way as players and as people. So it's really important to make sure that improvement, because I come in here obviously with fresh eyes, a fresh outlook, like Mike said there, from a professional sort of background, and that's the sort of things that I want to put across this programme to make sure that we're going to move forward. Because I don't want to come here and just stay on a level sort of playing field. I want to move the programme forward, and if that means we get out and build relationships with the clubs, then fantastic.
As Mike alluded to, you've been in WA, you were Kenny Lowe's assistant at the NTC program over there.
Yeah.
So you've got good experience in these kind of programs and in Australia. How do you think that'll help you along?
Absolutely. Obviously working to the national curriculum back in the days with Kenny Lowe and taking the state teams to the national competition, that really obviously gives you a big insight into what is expected in terms of from the programme point of view, but really importantly from a playing sort of perspective, the playing style and how that is important right through the age groups. I pretty much adopted that sort of philosophy as well in the UK, very similar to Burnley Football Club, where I was in the youth department there. We had a very similar playing philosophy, playing system. So, in 3 years here, then 2 years back in the UK, so 5 years experience in that type of playing philosophy. And it's really important that the players get the right similar messages on a consistent basis to help aid their sort of progression. So the experience from WA would be fantastic. And also from WA's point of view, they would look to upon it as, maybe not as, challenging as Victoria or New South Wales, but I proved that, it could be done, and we had a special age group, but we won the national competition. And I'd like to sort of put that confidence into the local players here. into the local market and sort of say, well, at the end of the day, if a child is born in Hobart or Tasmania, doesn't mean that they can't become a professional footballer, because they can, and I want to make sure that they believe that and they work towards that.
I know that you would have been asked in the actual interview process this similar question, but what, I guess, about the role in Tasmania appealed to you? You've got a lot of experience, and it seems like someone with your kind of experience could have a lot of jobs. Why here?
Why here? I think, the days in WA, I was very passionate about the Australian game. I really believe that it was fantastic the way that the FFA said, this is what we want. This is what's going to happen nationwide. And in the UK, it's dominated by the individual clubs doing whatever they sort of desire to do. So I really enjoyed the system. I left to go and get more experience, go back to the UK, went to the USA. But coming back to Australia, I believe that my future as a coach is here. And I believe that the FFA's sort of philosophy on the development from a youth perspective is fantastic and ideal. And I believe that my journey as a coach is better suited here than it is in the UK. So the reason, back years ago when I assisted Kenny Lowe, my first thought was I'd want to be the NTC head coach. So when an opportunity came up, whether it be Hobart, Northern Territory, wherever, I was going to take it, because I want to be in Australia and I want to long-term help develop players, because my passion is in absolutely youth development.
Straight into the deep.